Hey, it's Alze Calhoun with Coveted Consultant, and today's video is about how to use content marketing to sell productized services. And in this video, I'm going to show you a complete content marketing strategy to do that. Because the reality for us as consultants is we give a lot of our value away by talking. We do it through coffee, through lunch, through free consultations, formal presentations. We do it in webinars. We do it in workshops. We go places. We talk. We give away a lot of value in order to attract people into our business. But we don't always get return on all of that effort. And so when you use content marketing appropriately, you can give away the same content, sometimes even better content. But what you deliver is more strategic, and it allows you to get a better return on your efforts. Specifically, it helps you drive new traffic, it helps you attract new leads, and it gets you new sales through your website. So what we're going to look at today is a complete map. It's a blueprint for how to take your most powerful consulting offering and turn it into an entire soup to nuts content marketing campaign. So before I enter into the strategy, though, it's important for me to set this tone so we can agree on this next point together. Here's step 0. You need to have a productized transformational service. And that's a lot of vocabulary words, so let me make that plain. Transformational means to change in character or condition. Productized service is a structured service with a predefined scope, pricing, duration, deliverable, and results. So in other words here, you have put together what you offer in a step-by-step service and a step-by-step plan that delivers a very specific end result that changes your client's condition. Let's break that down into pieces so we can make sure we're on the same page. You've got to offer something awesome. That's what I'm trying to say. You've got to make sure that what you have is in fact awesome. Your client does not want average. Your client does not want second. Your client does not want good enough. Your client also does not want well-spoken, well-educated, or polished. What your client wants is an awesome solution for their overwhelming problem. And so when you look at what your service is, if it doesn't fit in the awesome category, you've got to reconsider what it is that you're offering. Secondly, productized services help you explain what you do. One of the downsides of all the talking that consultants do is that we over-explain what we offer, and it just overwhelms people. It confuses them. It doesn't make it simple. It actually makes it more complex. So productized services break things down into pieces and allow your client to see a step-by-step path to get from where they are to the place they really want to be. Third is that a productized transformational service helps you keep control of your consulting arrangements. If you offer open-ended consulting, it's too easy for a client to shift the scope of your project simply by making an ask. And though the ask is well intended, it can completely change what's going on with your current consulting arrangement. In other words, scope creep is one of the major things that damages a consulting business. When you offer a productized service, it vastly limits the opportunity for scope creep. You can be focused, you can be potent, and your client can expect a potent, focused end result. So in short, a productized transformational service is a structured way of delivering a specific change for your best client. Your best client knows what the high-level service is, how long it's going to take, how much it's going to cost, and where they can expect to be at the end before they purchase anything. So if you're trying to establish yourself with coveted positioning in the marketplace, you and your best client have to know what makes your business special. And the easiest way to establish that is to break down your awesome service and spell it out in a step-by-step high-level service offering. So that's where you've got to get started. Now, let's get in step number 1 of the actual content marketing strategy. So in step number 1, what you've got to make sure that you do is you offer your big idea, your big problem and big solution, and you break it up into smaller problems and smaller solutions. So the first thing you're going to do is just actually break this big problem up so your client can begin to appreciate what the steps are. The perspective you want to have with each of these different steps is if you're sitting down with your client and you're talking only about that individual problem, because you're going to create a specific content piece around the specific smaller problem that that client is having. It's important to remember that this content must stand alone. So it's not a teaser, it's not a short summary. It really is a solution. Your client needs to be able to read through that content piece and begin to see where they're going to end up at the end. It gives them some momentum into whatever the next step is you want them to take. So speaking of next steps, let's talk about what needs to happen at each of these steps. So each content piece deserves its own content promotion. So there's a way you're going to promote each piece of content as you roll it out. So let me explain each of them. So you make the content, you write it up, and you're going to post a long form content piece on your blog. So that's the first place it's going to go is on your blog. Then you make a very short, concise, well laid out email newsletter that goes out to your existing audience, telling everyone about the new solution you just posted on the blog. So those two things happen. Then you begin to syndicate that content at every major social media platform that's relevant for your audience. So the big ones are YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. So you want to make sure that your content is in all of those places. Now, why is it important to do content promotion in this way? The first big thing is leverage. Is you just created a unique problem or a unique solution to a very unique problem. And so you want to put that in all the right places. So instead of having to sit down with someone and explain it over coffee, you now have a blog post you can send them to so they can digest all of what they need to digest. So instead of it being a one-on-one interaction, by putting your content in the right place, you can speak to hundreds, if not thousands of people with the same effort. Second is that this is going to increase your conversions. So your best client gets a chance to view your content in the location and in the format that makes sense for them, and then they get to choose when they take the next step. So when they finally take that next step, it's their choice. It's their decision. You didn't have to poke, prod, or encourage them. They have made the decision to engage with you deeper. These are better quality leads. So that's the value proposition on why it's important to break up the content pieces and then promote them individually in this different way. So then the next step here takes you to a landing page. So when someone reads that content, they see it somewhere, they read it, they enjoy it, what's their next step? Well, they're going to go to a landing page that's going to describe the larger problem solution, that transformational service that you have. Now you're going to make that plain actually on the landing page. The idea here is you want to show them that their individual symptom, the problem that they're having, is really a reflection of a much larger issue. And so you want to show them not only that they're connected, the small problem and the big problem, but you also want to show them that you understand how they're connected and you have a solution that is packaged and ready for them to consume. So the landing page makes that very plain. And an easy way to execute on that landing page is simply take the content pieces that you created separately and put them together in a report. So now that report is located on that landing page that makes it plain that their individual problems come together under one umbrella and you have a solution for that problem. So the value proposition here for the client, what your best client is the light bulbs that are going off in their head. Is now they see that their particular issue, whether the issue was here, or here, they begin to see that their individual issue is connected to a much larger problem, and it's clear that you understand it better than they do. And that's a big deal as they learn to trust, know, like, and trust you more. And then also very plainly that the landing page is now capturing leads. So everybody who comes to that landing page and decides to take that next step of downloading your report now becomes a lead. It gives you a chance to follow up with them. And so speaking of follow-up, let's take a look at what the follow-up process looks like. So you can do this simply via email, and you want to send out 5 messages that simply remind them of the next step that they have in front of them. So the first message that you send out is basically a hello and welcome. You just want to say hello. You want to welcome them to your website. You want to welcome them to your content. You want to remind them of what they just downloaded, and you want to encourage them to download that thing and look at it now. So then the next message on the next day simply restates the problems. So they're having one of a number of different problems, and you want to remind them of what their problems are. You want to poke at that pain point a little bit, and you want to remind them that not only are they having these problems, but they've had them for some time, and the problems actually have a solution if they want to take that next step. So that's message number 2. Message number 3 is going to show them life without the problems. So let's assume that they've solved not just the little problems, but they've also solved the big one. What does their life look like now? What does their business look like now? What does their situation look like now? And so you want to spell that out. You want to spell out the major benefits of what happens after they finally got these problems solved. Message number 4 is where you're going to compare some other options. So you know that your best client has already tried to solve this problem somewhere else, some other kind of way. They're already negotiating, they're already experimenting, they've already have experience with other kinds of solutions. And so you want to spell those out. Right? You want to tell them, haven't you already tried thing 1, thing 2, and thing 3? Those things didn't work because X, Y, and Z, whatever that reason is, and then you connect them back to your larger package, your larger transformational service. The 5th message is you just simply ask them, why haven't we heard from you yet? So they've read your blog post, they've downloaded the larger free report, and they've received a series of messages from you. You just want to ask, why haven't we heard from you yet? And you may actually learn something in that response, or this may be the trigger for them to actually take the next step you want them to take. And so why is it so important to get this part right? Because your best client may not download that document, read it, and take an action in the next 30 seconds. That's probably what you want them to do, but that's probably not going to be what actually happens. So you've got to have a follow-up process to remind them of who you are, remind them of their situation, and point number 2 here, remind them of the specific next step you want them to take. You've got to be clear on exactly, if they understand what you've sent them, then this is the very next step they have to take. So you want to be very clear in each of your communications that there's one particular next step, and here's the one that I recommend, which is the one to a free consultation. So that's the 5th step here, is we're going to work to the free consult and working to close. Now, the way I talk about doing free consultations is basically a 2-step process. So this is someone who has read your blog post, they have downloaded your document, they've taken a look at that free report, they've received your follow-up messages, and they decided that they want to talk to you. So the first conversation is really just a discovery session. You're just talking to them about what they understand, because they've seen some content from you already. So you want them to just kind of give you a sense of what they already understand their problem to be and what they believe the solution is, and they're probably going to give you some insight on why they believe you're the right person to help them. They may also have some nuanced needs that are important to hear, some specifics for their situation. So you simply want to create an opportunity for them to tell you all of what they have to tell you about their particular situation. That's the first step. The second step, in the second part of the conversation, is you want to, so when you have your second conversation, your second consultation, you're essentially going to offer them your packaged solution. So you're going to acknowledge what they've told you, their specifics of their situation, and then you're going to present them with your packaged solution. And it's simply a matter of if they're ready to make the purchase. So having these 2 conversations side by side greatly simplifies what could be a lot of back and forth between you and your best client. So because you've got a transformational productized service ready for them to consume they understand what that service is and its value. It makes the conversations a lot simpler, a lot smoother, and it makes it so much easier for them to actually say yes. So this step is really, really important because it makes sure that you understand your client's specific needs. And also in that same conversation, you can be sure that they actually fit the productized service that you're prepared to offer. Secondly, this goes a long way in establishing a really good relationship with your best client, whether or not they make the purchase on this day. So you've shown them that you understand the issue. You have shown them that you understand the issue not only in a small way but also in a large way. You've shown them that you can communicate the issue with them via the free consultation, that you'll hear them out, you'll listen to them, and that you actually have command over a solution. So there are many ways why a client may or may not make a purchase on a given day. But what you've done is make sure that you've established yourself as an authority in their mind. You understand the problem, you understand how the solution should work, and you are fully prepared to solve it if and when they're ready. So in the end, what do we have? What we have is an entire process that emulates, or entire strategy that emulates what you're doing for free already. So you know you offer a high-level service. You know you offer that. What you've done is you've broken that down in separate content pieces. You've promoted each of those content pieces separately. All of those content pieces drive to the same landing page that talk about your high-level service. On that landing page, you have a free download with a simple follow-up series that gets them into your free consultation so you can close the sale. This mimics the same process you are doing in person, but it gives it scale. It gives it efficiency, and it's one that you can measure and improve. So if you're looking for a content marketing strategy to help you sell productized services, you're looking at it. And as a matter of fact, you can download this template at the blog post tied to this video. So please download it, please use it, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Again, my name is Alzay Calhoun with Coveted Consulting.